Beach break is tonight for AEW. I will be giving you my thoughts and predictions on that card, as well as talk about some AEW and then also some WWE news that has been circulating over the last week on Screw the Script. AEW's beach break being tonight, we have a pretty solid card. We've got 4 matches announced and then 1 promo announced. Now, again, I've mentioned this before, AEW cards, they typically don't show everything that's going to happen. I still think that's not the smartest move since they are still a young company at only being 6 years of age. I really think if you want to get the most eyes on your product early on, you got to show everything that you're going to have in the night, aside from like surprise debuts or returns, things of that nature. But instead, you got what we have here, which is the announced card. And I'm going to start from the bottom right and then go right to left, and then I'll go up to the next row and then the main event, if that makes sense. So I'll have it for you up on the screen, and I'm going to follow along off my laptop. So starting with Ricochet and Zach Owen. Obviously, this is just a one-off. I'm not super thrilled or excited for this match. I'm sure it'll just be a fun match that gets crowd engagement. Ricochet really working his heel magic in this year of 2025. It's the most interesting he's ever been in his career, aside from his stint in NXT back, 7-8 years ago now. Obviously, Ricochet is going to win, but there's a small part of me that thinks that somebody is going to get involved, and small part meaning a debut. I feel like there's some sort of debut that could be lurking in AEW tonight, and if it's going to happen, it will either happen in this match or the next thing that I'm going to talk about. We'll see if anything like that happens, or even a return in AEW to help Zach Owen out. Possibly win. The only way he wins is if he gets some help from either a debut or a return. Otherwise, I have Ricochet winning this just to further solidify his heel heat that he's been getting in 2025. Let's get on to the next part. We have MJF having a promo with the Hurt Syndicate, and this is where I am more inclined into thinking that we're going to possibly get a debut. I think it's a red herring. In my mind, I don't think that we're going to get MJF to join the Hurt Syndicate. If he does, that'd be great too. I would be interested to see where that goes. But these are my predictions, and my mind is going elsewhere. My mind feels like we're gonna get this build up during this promo that hey, Lashley's gonna finally give him a thumbs up, but instead they all play him. They all give him a thumbs down, and then we get a debut of Cedric Alexander. I think Cedric Alexander is going to be in AEW at some point in 2025, and I think he would fit the mold very well to join the Hurt Syndicate. So, I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's all a red herring. We're not going to see MJF actually join the Hurt Syndicate. We're going to see a 4th member join the Hurt Syndicate that isn't MJF, and that's going to be Cedric Alexander. Now, that's my prediction. It could go elsewhere. It could be that MJF does, in fact, join the Hurt Syndicate, and he rides with them for a while, and then classic MJF style, he turns on them before they can turn on him, and he kind of just rides the coattail of their success to get him back into the title picture. But nonetheless, I'm excited to see where this promo and segment goes. Next, we have back-to-back tag matches that I'll talk about. I'm really excited for both of these because it really features a lot of AEW's top talent. You got Ospreay and Hangman versus Takeshita and the newest signing of the Don Callis family, Josh Alexander. This will be a fun tag match, and boy, this could go either way, honestly, now that I'm looking at it. You let me know your thoughts down below, by the way, on your predictions for this card. I think I'm going to lean towards... I feel like you got to keep the momentum going for Hangman, so I think they're going to pick up the win. But, like I said, this could go either way. I think this is going to be a solid 20-minute tag match. But I do have Hangman and Ospreay picking up the win. And let's talk about the women's tag match next. Women's tag match, you got Toni Storm and Mina, who is rumored to be now signing with AEW full-time now that she's done with Stardom. And then you got a returning Sky Blue and AZM. Sky Blue, I don't know if I agree with this booking of her return after she's been gone for quite some time. Because on paper, it looks like they are not going to win. I could see a returning or debuting women's wrestler as well, not just Sky Blue returning. I don't think she eats the pin because I don't think their team wins. I think AZM is going to eat the pin from either probably most likely Toni Storm. Do we get a return here? You know, we've seen crazy things happen in the women's division in 2025 so far. I really think their women's division is at their peak right now. That's all very exciting. Do we get Mariah May? That's what's trickling in my mind. Because Mina and Mariah May are really good friends outside of pro wrestling, and they have had their relationship inside the ring and in AEW. Maybe something like that happens. Or it's just a straightforward tag match. I just don't like Sky Blue being in a tag match right away as she returns. But we'll see what happens. And now let's go over the main event, steel cage match between Samoa Joe and Jon Moxley from the Death Riders. I love steel cage matches. I think this is going to be a great match. Solid 20 to 25 minute main event we'll probably see. I do really think that AEW puts on the better cage matches for sure. It's night and day for me. I really think that their cage matches are the better product. Unfortunately, I really just in my gut don't feel like Samoa Joe takes the title. I really do think we're going to get Jon Moxley to carry the belt all the way until All In July, and it'll be either Ospreay or Hangman that takes it from him. And I have expressed multiple videos now that Hangman is my pick for the tournament winner when him and Ospreay face each other later this month at Double or Nothing. And I do still think Hangman is going to go on and beat Jon Moxley at All In. So my pick is for Moxley to win tonight, but it's going to be a solid outing from Samoa Joe. He is such a good worker. He is having an amazing career in AEW, much better than how his career went in WWE for those few years that he was over there. He was fine in NXT, had the belt, the main belt at one point, but much like many NXT wrestlers from that era, from 2014 to 2019, those 5 years, a ton of the top talent from NXT that eventually did go to the main roster aren't even on the WWE roster anymore. We literally have two of them featured tonight on Beach Break with Samoa Joe and Ricochet. We're both part of that those years in NXT. So that is my prediction for Beach Break. Now let's get on to some news for AEW and WWE. We'll stick with AEW first since I was just talking about Beach Break. Right up here, I'll have on the screen, we have a snippet of something that Kyle Fletcher said. He said, AEW moving to intimate venues has reignited passion of many wrestlers backstage in the company. I think these venues have really reignited a lot of people's passion backstage. When you have these weird, wacky balconies in theaters, it brings a different feeling. And it's really brought alive our wrestlers' passion again. I 100% agree with Kyle Fletcher. Last week, we saw Toni Storm cut a great vignette, black and white promo in the box seats of the theater that they were in. And you're not going to get that in the traditional setting for a pro wrestling show. You know, basketball or hockey arenas is typically where these events are held outside of a few special places. You're not going to see that. And that's something that AEW can take advantage of since they are part of these smaller venues now. You have the option to do very unique promos like we saw with Toni Storm last week. I really thought it was a blast, and I full-heartedly agree with Kyle Fletcher here on this. The next one, now I don't know if he was kind of just pride from an interviewer, but Kenny Omega says something that could be taken as pretty controversial, maybe a little biased here, but I do agree with him on what he said here. I'll have it up on the screen. Kenny Omega thinks WWE is a few WrestleManias away from having Logan Paul versus Mr. Beast in the main event. Now, that may be grasping for straws and just overreaching, but here's a photo real quick of literally the two of them being presented at a UFC event side by side. So I really don't think it's out of the question of actually happening. I think there is a world where something like that does happen. Maybe not in a match, but maybe Mr. Beast gets involved in something. Nonetheless, I think it's stupid. I think WWE and TKO are doing way too much celeb endorsement with all of these, celebrities, YouTubers, you name it, musicians like Travis Scott and his huge flop that he had at Mania. If stuff like this continues to happen in TKO and WWE, there really won't be a dispute on who really does focus on pro wrestling versus entertainment first. So I do agree with Omega. It is a bit ridiculous of a statement, but at the same time, at least in my mind, I don't think it's too out of the question on happening. I mean, it very well could happen. Now on to some quick WWE news. We'll talk about Hulk Hogan real quick. Hulk Hogan just burying himself in an even deeper hole. I did notice that on Raw, or at least at Backlash, I can't remember if Raw had it or not. They did. It looks like they did kind of remove Real American Beer from their logos on the ring mat. Thank God. Hopefully that sticks because boy, here's a photo here of him saying his recent crowd reactions on Ariel's podcast is where this is coming from. I can go out there and get booed in LA, or The Rock can get booed in LA, or John Cena get booed in LA, but when I get booed, there's a whole different reaction, media-wise. For some reason, I've laid some type of groundwork that people are still interested in what I'm doing. When you get booed and you get 3.2 billion engagements and The Rock, the whole world in LA, with how much interaction there was on the internet, I'll take it. I really think that maybe Hogan is suffering from some CTE or, I don't know, some case of delusion where he's really in his own world in his head where he thinks that what happened on the Netflix debut was heat, like pro wrestling heat. No, it was genuine hate. No one likes you anymore, Hulk Hogan. You're racist. Your ego is bigger than anybody's right now, and this statement from you really just proves that. Hulk Hogan and WWE need to be separated as fast as possible. We got news that WWE is going to have a draft, possibly before SummerSlam, later this month in Tampa, Florida, apparently. It was noted that the company has discussed holding the draft during TakeOver Week in Tampa, which currently has the following events scheduled. And there's a list right there. I don't need to read them off. My take on this is I have not cared for a WWE draft in a very long time because they aren't truly a brand split company anymore. They haven't been for a while. Even when they did try and recognize it between Raw and SmackDown a handful of years back when they did that split sort of again, you're still seeing the top talent go to and from SmackDown and Raw. So there really isn't. Really, the brand split is just on lesser talent. It's, if you're not Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes or Punk or McIntyre, to name a few guys, you are actually restricted to Raw or SmackDown. So I'm lukewarm on this. I really don't care about the draft, but I guess there's one happening. That's all I had on this episode of Screw the Script. Tomorrow I will be covering Beach Break, and then I'm going to return the Wrestling Roulette. I haven't done that in a few weeks. If anybody has seen that already, if you haven't, tune into that for the next video that I'll upload tomorrow after my recap and review of Beach Break. Essentially, I put a bunch of names on a wheel and I spin it and pick people at random, and then I have a separate wheel for match stipulations, and then I just kind of discuss who I think would win in that scenario. It's a fun exercise and activity that I do on this channel, so I'm bringing that back. Once again, this has been Maverick with Screw the Script. Thanks for watching.